Hello again, friends. I'm Beatrice Daily. Welcome back. And today, for today's project, we're going to be painting a summery landscape with golden fields where they're ready to be picked. And in order to do this project, we're going to be working with a limited palette. Why? Because a limited palette allows us to learn how to use our colors better, and also it gives us a smaller chance of creating matte, and it creates more of a harmonious sense all through the picture. This is the painting we're going to be doing. Without further ado, so for today's landscape, we're going to be painting a summery landscape with a lot of golf fields and stuff. We're going to be using a limited palette. What is a limited palette? It means that we're going to be mixing a lot of different colors out of 3 colors. In this case, we're going to be using the QOR Hansa Yellow Light. I already put it over there. The Sminky Ultramarine Blue. It is called Ultramarine Finest, but it is an ultramarine blue. And the Winsor & Newton Bronze Sienna, which I have there. Yes, there's another color there, but we're not going to be using that one. We will be mixing all our colors out of these 3. So the sky is going to be applied in a wet or wet technique. I'm wetting my sky all the way here till the distant horizon line. And when wetting your sky, please go back and forth. Don't just put the water and then right away go with your paints, because then you only wetting the surface of the paper. And when you're working on good paper, as I am, and cotton paper, all the fibers need to get wet. What that is going to give us is enough time of wet paper so that we can apply the sky without having some areas that drying faster than the others. So notice how I'm going in all the directions. I'm going on horizontal, and then I'm going diagonal, and I'm going back and forth to make sure that my paper gets wet all the way down. And I don't necessarily have to have piles of water. I just want the fibers of this paper to get to soak. While this is happening, now I have time to mix my sky. We're going to be using, obviously, the French ultramarine for the sky. Oops, quite a bit. So let's just do it like in a directional way. Maybe kind of like that. The corners, we're going to let them, and maybe we do that right here too. This is such a beautiful color. Lovely for summery skies because it's a warm type of blue. Okay, so now I'm pretty much done bringing the color. I'm gonna take the color out of my brush, and now I'm just gonna spread it, kind of blend it. And because I'm wet on wet, the water is also helping me with the blending of these colors onto the sky. This is too even, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on to the opposite direction. See, instead of bringing the color down, it kind of sort of goes up. Let's just bring some more here onto the distance. And keep in mind the watercolors, as always. I always repeat it myself, but it dries lighter, so we may need to bring a few darker colors somewhere in the sky. For example, let's put this here. Let's just have a couple over here. Maybe a light one over there. Yeah. I don't want too much over here because I want to have the sense of a distance. Like this is closer to us and that is far away. This painting, besides being about the how to use a limited palette, is gonna have a lot of hills and a lot of distance. It's gonna look gorgeous. Okay, so sometimes instead of me fiddling too much. It's better if we let the water do what it needs to do. So this is maybe too even. You see how it's 1, 2, 3. So let's just break one of them, put in a little bit of the light, and I like that a lot. Maybe we can put one here as well. And these two start at the same place, so let's just break it a little bit, because in nature usually everything is not so even. And now, yes, I'm leaving this sky alone. While it dries, we are making some greens. I want to have very pale because we're going to do an underpainting. Underpainting means we're going to start blacking the colors where they need to be, and then we'll come back with more colors as we go. So the more distant colors are going to have to be, because they are in the distance, they need to be less bright. So have a testing paper here. This is a green that it goes a little bit more onto the blue, so this is a good one for the far away. Like I said, I have some mountains over there, and those are going to be looking like they're very, very far away. So those I will have to paint when the sky is dry. So that gives me a barrier that I can go ahead and start. So all of these is going to be green. Because I'm working small, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And then I'm going to have more diluted, same color. Let me see if I can put it without touching my sky, that you guys can see it. It's the same color, but with more water. So let's just go over here. I would like to introduce, because I'm getting closer, I'm going to introduce a little bit more yellow. So just get a hint of that over here. I don't want it to be too warm yet, because this is still in the distance. So we're going to put it right here. You see the slight difference when this one goes next to the other? Very subtle, but there. Okay. We got this, we got that. That's a mountain. This is a mountain. Mountain. So I think that we are good over here. And now let's get the bigger brush once more time, and picking a mix of the one with a little bit of the yellow and the other one that it was more cool. We're gonna go ahead and come over here, put another feel, if you will. And again, this is my underpainting, so if I leave a little bit of white areas, it's okay, because we will come and cover all of that shortly. All right, so this and this comes over here. Okay. For this other one, let's see if I can get away with doing it. I'm bringing a tiny little bit more of the blue, because I want it to be farther cooler. Okay, and then we will put some kind of distant trees once the sky is has dried. All right, so now once again I bring in more yellow. I'm using the same blends, but adding a little bit more of this or that to them. And this one, we're going to start warming it up quite a bit. Let's get even more yellow. So let's just go like that. Oh, so pretty. Very, very pretty. One of the reasons why you will use limited palette is because they unify. All of the colors are kind of like in the same families. Think about like in the color wheel when all the colors they are close to each other, and that gives a lot of harmony to your paintings. Okay, now I'm trying my best to show you the palettes as I'm mixing my colors, but see, this is my yellow. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm coming with this, but I don't want it to be so lemony. I'm gonna go a little bit onto the brown sienna, our third color, and I'm gonna put some of that over here. Let's get a little more. It's on the yellow side, but now we have turned it into kind of like an Indian yellow. Yep. Very pretty. Okay, so let's start putting some of these fields over here with the big brush. I'm gonna keep going with the underpainting with my yellows and some of the greens that I was using in the distance, as well as just yellow with burnt sienna. Basically, I'm trying to cover all the white of my papers, and the underpainting will be done. Let's start working on those distant fields. I'm getting blue, darker colors now, and light touch of yellow, but I wanted more on the cool side. So can you see? That's good. It's not blue, but that tiny hint of yellow change it to where we need to be. Let's put a little bit of the blue, and now let's start making the impression of some very distant trees. So let's see. Let's start over here. Just touching and go, because I don't want an even surface. If they're trees, they're gonna be like that. And as they go farther away, they're gonna become smaller, and they're also gonna be lighter. So right now these ones and these ones are about the same color. What can we do? Well, we can go with water right here. And the water is pushing this color a little bit. They're kind of dry already, so let's go with water. Push a little bit more. Good job. And now I'm bringing this green that I have here with water. So I'm diluting it, making it big. I'm saving that because I'm going to want it for the closer ones. But for this one, I still want to put some variation. So let's go like this. Now I can go a little bit darker with the same color. And we're going to have it coming over there. And maybe a little bit over there. Water. Okay. And now we're going to put a little bit of trees coming this way. And we're going to start filling all this up. These ones are going to over powder the other ones. Darker over there. And now with water, we're going to bring this over here. Nice. Nice. Bring some of that. And now we're going to start unifying these two. And let's just bring some of these greens, darker greens, over here. We need to make us more green I mean yellow, blue. Let's put some of that over here. And there you go. Let's get it together with that. Still as far, I feel like it's too warm, so let's just go with a little bit more of the blue to keep it cooler. Okay, now a few of those indentations over here, a couple over there. Let's get one with water to blend, and this one we're gonna blend as well. And we got some kind of trees over there. Let's just put a few other ones over here as well. Now notice, it's an impression. I put bumpy things on the top, and then I just go with water, and that's gonna read like distant trees. Okay. I don't like how this is so blue and this is kind of too green, so let's just bring a little bit of the mix in between. I'm working on this. This is a bunch of trees as well, with a little bit more of the blue and the green and the yellow to make green. I keep thinking green and then I keep saying green, but no. Okay, more on the blue, more on the cool side. Although my favorite season of the year is fall. I've always loved the fall. I mean, not only for the colors, which I do love. I like the temperature and the cozy evenings, trying to spend at home. Not as cold as the winter yet. Here, I'm dropping some more of the blue on top of that one because it's wet. And going with water, I'm gonna let these two blend and do their thing. I got a little too much water, so I'm gonna have to go back with paint. Let's get a little of the green too. Since all my colors are blending in the paper now, let's just take advantage of that. And we're gonna bring all of this green. Like I was saying, if I wanna put this a little bit dull, I just had to bring to the same color a little bit of my burnt sienna. Am I doing that? Now look at this. I can get like almost like olive greens. That would have been a lot of different tubes of paint to get all these different colors. And that's what I always tell my students when especially the beginners, it's like don't need to spend a lot of money on a lot of tubes of paint. Get just 2 or 3 good quality so that you're gonna have a lot of pigment on them and they're gonna last a long time. But then with those, look how many variations of colors you can get. And then later, as you paint more and more, and it's convenient to just get out of a tube, then you can invest in different tubes. Watercolor paint goes a long way. So, I mean, it takes a long time to use it all. I'm bringing some of this new tone of green around here so that I have blues, the darker greens, the pale greens, the yellows, and all these kind of olive greens right here. Once again, I'm gonna pick up darker colors, so bring more pigment into my mix. And again, I'm gonna bring a little bit of my burnt sienna to get that kind of olive green that I was working with there. And this is so that we can make this kind of starting to get a little bit closer trees. But when trees are in the distance, they only look like big sticking up things. These are almost too even, so some lower. Let's make this one a little bit taller. Lower, 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 lower. And then I'm gonna bring this to here. And then water. Let's bring some of that color for unifying that. Since I have this color here, let's just bring some here as well. And then we're gonna bring some of those blues up here. Now, let's move to the closer ones. And I'm bringing some of this bigger brush. Let me get another one for blending. Let's start going a little bit like this. Water, water. And let's bring some other color here to break some of these big areas out. Look how much depth we are creating. Okay, now this one here, let's just use this color. I like it more on the dull size. Water. And I'm blending this part that is light and darker with this one that was lighter. I'm bringing it over here. All right, let's do a little separation between this field and this other one by going slightly darker right there. All right, we will come back here to put some more bushes. And now let's just go. We got the cool colors. Now let's just bring in the warm tones. Since I'm working on a small palette, if I remove this to bring the others, I think that I'm gonna put this last of the greens right there. This is a mix of my the three ones that I'm working with. And let's just do bushes, trees. We don't know. Those more like the tops of the trees. They are behind this field. Let's get a little darker. These are too even, so let's just drop some blues. And over here, maybe a little more brown sienna. For, you guessed it, for variation. Yeah, it's good to have variation. Okay, let's switch to our greens. Yellows. Yellow. Brown sienna. Brown sienna. Brown sienna and yellow. I'm making impressions of wheat or whatever. So I just tip it with the tip of my brush. I'm allowing the underpainting to show. Now I'm gonna switch to the greens, and I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. And now, after I have done this, what I'm gonna do is come with my spray bottle, and I'm gonna spray. And right now it doesn't seem like it's doing much, but as it dries, you will see. Can't help it. We will come back to this after this is dry. I'm gonna continue with these other fields. Okay, so let's just finish this painting. We're gonna have the burnt sienna. I'm gonna bring some French ultramarine. I'm gonna make myself like a gray, brownish gray, and I'm gonna start putting some of these into the road. So a little bit darker on the edges. Let's continue to do the curve. And now I'm coming, first we're gonna bring some of that at the end of this row. Brush with color and one with water, brown siennas, and a little bit of these blues, just to get them a little bit green, on the green side. I'm going with that. I'm coming with water. This is just burnt sienna. Break it out a little. Same thing over here. And this is giving direction, texture, movement, all of those things. We working dry on dry paper with dry paint, and then we just going later with the brush that has only water to blend. So we are painting on dry, we're using the wetness just to blend. We want hard edges. All right, and now what we're gonna do here, we need to have some texture here because these things are closer. I don't even know what color I have on my brush. Okay, I got the green. Let's just get going with the green. We can create like the impression of some grasses or whatever it is in the field. I can tell I'm a city girl. I don't know what it is. I just see them as an artist with the colors and the movement, but let's just call it wheat. I go with water. We're gonna get a little bit more darker, and then we're gonna create texture by adding water. But in order to do that, we need to have the colors fairly strong. So I'm going with the burnt siennas, bringing greens, with blues, some more of those, and a lot of yellows. Okay. And I just tapping, so they kind of blend. Bring in some of the mix of burnt siennas and yellows, a little bit of the grays, and burnt siennas, like that. Okay, so now we're going to get burnt sienna here. That's not a bad thing. Now I'm gonna take care of having texture here. How am I gonna do that? Well, I'm gonna have one brush, and then the other one, I'm gonna bring water, and then I'm gonna tap. If you don't want it to get over there, you can always use a scrap paper. But it's only water, so it should not bother the rest too much. This one was still wet, so I'm gonna let this here, and then you will see how it creates kind of like a feeling of textures. It takes time, so we're gonna move to do it the same thing basically on this other side. So taking the darker ones by the end of the rope, by the side of the road, sorry. Okay. Let me show you. I'm picking up that, I'm picking up this. More on the blue. Let's bring some. Now, to that I'm bringing burnt sienna. Burnt sienna with yellow. I want all of these, I don't want them to dry. I want them to kind of mix together before they dry. And now I'm gonna let this dry a little before I go and splatter with water so that it can give me texture. Burnt sienna only. And also, let this dry enough to go with water. Yellow is, I call it my bully color because wherever I put it, it pushes other colors away. So let's just put some of this one right here. This is actually doing a very lovely thing, but I need to disrupt that and come around. Then go with the thin brush. Let's pick some of these greens and bring it here. Let's get a little more greens around here. And let's get a yellow. Okay, let's do some splatting. By the way, this technique is we splash water, so it's splatting. Okay. Yeah, just gonna lightly bring some burnt siennas and some little things that go higher. Okay. Let's leave a chance for this water to work. I'm putting a little bit more. And let it dry, and then we'll come back and put the finishing touches over there. Okay, this is still pretty wet in some areas. Some areas, I don't know if I can show you, are dry, but some other ones are still wet. So I'm gonna be careful not to rest my hand. And we're gonna go here with the glaze as I promised. Let's get a number 4. And I'm gonna get, this is pretty, this color doesn't have a lot of brightness. So I'm gonna put a light glaze with these colors that I have here, which is the yellow and the burnt sienna. And then I'm gonna start. A glaze means I go with very light pressure because I have a lot of paint underneath. but with these colors, and I put a layer on top of the one that I already have. Now, I like this. I think it needs to be a little bit lighter over there, so I'm going right away with paper and I'm lifting, and that makes it look like it's farther in the distance. And now I'm getting the bronze sienna with a little bit of the French ultramarine, making myself a gray, but it needs to be more on the brown. And then once again, we're gonna put some of there. It still is wet because I put the glaze. I just finished putting a glaze. And okay, now I only have water in my brush. I'm blending this. Let's just put a little on the opposite direction. And our painting is done. Using 3 colors, primary yellow, French ultramarine, and bronze sienna, we were able to create all this big variety of colors, making a beautiful summery landscape. Let me show you. Our landscape is complete. I hope that you enjoyed painting with a limited palette. It's a great way to do your watercolors. It's good for beginners, intermediates, and advanced. I try to do it often. I enjoy it. You always learn something about color. Your paintings become harmonious, and you don't have to make so many decisions about what color to get. You just blending it a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, less of this, more of that, then you get the colors that you need. We created a big sense of depth. It is a very fun painting to do. Also, we did a lot of texture without putting all the details. So if you haven't painted along, please give it a try and let me know what else would you like me to paint next. I'll see you next time.